All right. Hello and welcome to the Hollow Herald podcast. This is episode number 12, I believe. It's Monday night, 8:20. We're a little bit late at starting this one. Sorry for that, for all you viewers out there. But this week we have so much to talk about, so I'm not going to waste any time getting right into it. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, boys.
This is Austin here for another great episode of the Hollow Herald podcast. Now we're renaming it the HH podcast. So, yeah, let's get into it.
And I'm joined by one other fella.
And it's me once again, Alex, here with the HH podcast, I guess, as we're now calling it.
Well, we'll call it the Hollow Herald podcast. Just on the description, we'll call it the HH because it takes up so much gosh
I
darn
like
room.
the HH though.
HH, that's so ambiguous, though. What does that could mean anything. Sorry, we ruined your introduction. Get back to yourself, Alex.
Well, I'm just super excited for this. You know, Microsoft Build just went down, and we found a lot of good stuff, a lot of great stuff to talk about. So let's not waste too much time on introductions and just dive right into it.
Yep, so as you guys know, the Microsoft Build just happened last week, and I'll start off with a bit of an apology. We weren't able to get much content out last week. We ran into some problems, and we're trying to do some new stuff with the channel, and with Microsoft Build happening, we were just so distracted, and yes, but we're jumping right back into it hardcore. We already just barely released a video just like 10 minutes ago. Hollow Heli, I think it was, which is like where you fly a drone in your room using an Xbox controller. It's really cool. So we've already got one video, and we just have a huge week planned out, and we're just going to try to hammer videos out and get right back into it. So, yeah, but as you guys know, Microsoft Build happened last week, and some crazy, crazy stuff was announced. What did you guys see? We'll just do a quick little overview, and then we'll do a deep dive into some of that stuff. What's some of the biggest things that came out during Microsoft Build, guys?
Well, go ahead, Austin.
Well, the new mixed reality developer version headsets for $400 this holiday season. I'm excited for those.
So yeah, they didn't release an I mean, they didn't give us a release date yet, did they?
No, but you can pre-order them.
Yeah, they've been hinting at those for such a long time, and apparently this is the first time. And attendees, like random attendees, were able to get their own kits, which is really cool. They're actually up to pre-order right now on their website, but no word on a release date. What else was there, guys? There's so much. Just let's keep hammering it out.
Yeah, one thing that I thought was pretty impressive was kind of the cross-platform experiences through the cloud. Basically, if I'm on my Microsoft Surface and I'm doing a project, I can go somewhere else and pull out my iPhone and access it through my mobile device. For example, iPhone and Android, those are kind of the two big things. I just think it's impressive now.
No Windows Phone?
Well, obviously, that's kind of to be expected. But it's impressive that like iPhone is now compatible with like my Microsoft projects, you know? Mm-hmm. Kind of the two, like the heaviest hitters in the tech industry are now working together. And yeah. I mean, that's worth mentioning, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll save probably the biggest thing for last, which is their new controllers they announced, because we have a lot of thoughts on that and everything. But come on, well, there was some other stuff. I saw like tons of links we were posting in our Slack. What's some of the other stuff?
The new visual identity. Yes, they're like kind of the visual aspects of the user interface is being completely revamped. They're adding a lot of subtle differences like blurs and changes in color as you interact with the interface to the computer. And there's also different types of, just like with motion, and it's kind of super complicated to explain. What they did a really good job in a video. It's in the article that I posted. If we could get somebody to post that in the,
I'm on it.
Because it's actually you know what, heck, actually, I could do it right now. Maybe. But in the video, I don't know, just like, it felt like a lot. Like, there's a lot of different things that they've changed. Like, I remember when Windows 8 first came out, a lot of people were complaining about just how complicated it was. Just because all the extra fluff that they put into it. And I feel like the new visual identity that they're talking about, I feel like that's kind of gonna be the same thing.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the fact that they're using Unity, which everybody's really happy about, like Unity's kind of empowering the future of this holographic world, whether it's VR or whether it's MR or AR. Unity's been kind of like pushing it big time, and they had some cool announcements. And what was interesting is, did you guys see the video from their HoloLens where they had the Cirque du Soleil thing on the stage? Did you guys see that?
Yeah, for like practicing the mock-ups and like dress rehearsals for stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And it was actually pretty insane. They had this huge, like really high resolution build of Cirque du Soleil with these girls dancing around and really high resolution everything. And it looks like this is where they really put the HoloLens spectator view, because I mean they're crystal clear. I don't know how good it would look through the HoloLens, something that big, but I mean seen through a big Red Epic camera or whatever they were using to film it, I mean it looks quite impressive. People said it was kind of a little overwhelming, like a little bit too much, but I don't know. I thought that was really interesting to really showcase the capabilities of that, to put that big of a render on stage in live view at live time and not have any bugs or glitches or issues or anything like that.
Yeah,
Top
I thought it was
Go ahead.
impressive because, Eric, like we've all talked about how in a lot of YouTube videos we see a lot of these animations pre-rendered in to mimic what the application would do on the HoloLens. And like, yeah, they're impressive, but it's a long shot from what it really looks like, through the HoloLens. So with this, just to have it run that seamlessly, I mean, me and Austin watched that for about 5 minutes, just like how incredible the resolution was and how crisp the animation was, just like really unleashed the true potential of the HoloLens and broadcasted it to the world.
Oh yeah, man. They it was quite impressive. I don't remember what else they were announcing at the time because it was a pretty long keynote. But they had Mr. Kitman up there and everything, and he was talking about the future of mixed reality and the other stuff they wanted. They hinted at a lot of things. One interesting thing that at least I didn't notice, did you guys see any Minecraft material or anything like that? Because I remember last year at Microsoft Build at E3 and PAX and all that stuff, they were really pushing Microsoft for the HoloLens. Did you guys see anything from that?
Not a whole lot this time.
I don't think I saw anything Minecraft, which is kind of
Well,
interesting that they switched gears on there. Go ahead.
Just with their Microsoft Beam, you can stream games pretty quickly. With it's gonna come out with the new Windows Creator update.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
A
cool.
Beam?
We'll talk
Is
about
it like a streaming service?
Yeah, it's just like you just hit Windows key plus G and click broadcast and start streaming on with Box app, I think. I'm not sure.
So here's like kind of like a quick overview of. So day one they came out and they announced some new Office 3. This isn't going to be HoloLens specific. This is just going to be a quick overview of MS Build in general. They announced some stuff about Windows 10 users and how it's over 500 million monthly active devices, which is pretty impressive. That because I know a lot of people that are still holding on to Windows 7 and Windows 8 and all that stuff. Even people still use Windows Vista. So that 500 people have made the switch to Windows 10 is pretty impressive. Office 365, Microsoft Graph, some new stuff. We won't talk about a lot of this stuff. More Cortana. Go ahead.
Yeah, one thing that I thought was really interesting, like with programming, Microsoft's Unity is now accessible almost 100% through Mac now.
So you can dev on Mac, because I know that was a big thing. It was actually kind of interesting. Back in the day when HoloLens first came out, they would do their little dev videos and their dev tutorials or like stuff announcing it, and they always had a Mac computer. And the first comment was always like, why is this guy able to dev on a Mac computer but I can't yet? And it was always like, coming soon, coming soon. So that's cool that they finally rolled it all out so that people could do stuff. Let's see, going down the list. So this is still on day one. More Cortana devices and skills. So Cortana's just getting smarter, and they're adding her to basically everything. I think they're planning on adding her to the Xbox, Windows, Bing, and Office stuff. So instead of the little paperclip helping you, you'll have Cortana on Word.
A big thing about that, Eric, is that they're releasing Cortana to third-party developers now. So basically, any application is usable with Siri.
Interesting. That's
Well, if the developer chooses. Or, yeah, Cortana. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, that's pretty cool because that's a pretty powerful AI and voice recognition and power that they're just handing out there. I mean, we haven't seen Google Home. Google Home's not Google Home. What do they call her? Google Assistant. The Google Assistant is really powerful, but yet you only see it on like Google Home and Google Pixel and these certain devices. And for Microsoft to come out and just say, "Have it," is really impressive of them. Visual Studio stuff for Mac, which has always been, people have been wanting Visual Studio on Mac for a while. Day 2 announcements. Windows 10 Fall Creators Update. So they plan some new. Microsoft confirmed the autumn update will be called the Fall Creators Update and includes a focus on bringing Windows experience to iOS and Android devices. That's kind of what we talked a little bit about earlier. Sorry, excuse me. Story Remix. Story Remix is part of the Fall Creators Update, but it's a pretty big deal, so we'll explain it a bit in full here. I'm reading this off of an article because I couldn't watch everything. It's basically a successor to or replacement for Windows Movie Maker, an app that lets you create videos on Windows XP or Windows 7 machine. It works in the cloud and lets you pull in images and video from iOS, Android, or other Windows devices. So it provides a true multi-platform experience. You can start making a video with Story Remix on an iPhone, but if you want to finish creating on Windows 10 PC, you could do that too. This app also supports 3D models and lets you pin objects and scenes. It therefore combines Microsoft Remix 3D and Paint 3D technologies and borrows from Snapchat's AR effects. It also lets you add soundtracks, including ones from Microsoft Groove music service. Wow, that's pretty impressive. I didn't see anything about that until I read this article. Austin, do you remember back in the day using Windows Movie Maker?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All of our first stuff was built on Windows Movie Maker way back in the day, like
Comic Sans.
Yeah, exactly. I remember it was so cool to be able to like edit video together. This is really big announcement actually that I didn't see anywhere else. Maybe I was just oblivious and focusing on Holo and stuff, but the fact that you can do all of this stuff in the cloud, I mean, that's one of our biggest things that we want is cloud editing on Premiere. To be able to do that with Windows Movie Maker, and not just Windows Movie Maker. I mean, you can do it on your phone, and you can do it on. I mean, that opens up so many possibilities, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And me and Austin were kind of talking. We watched a demo on kind of the new features of Movie Maker, and just like how seamless it was to be able to just like add tracking, like an animation tracking to something, and have it interact so fluidly with what you've with what is shown in the video. It's just like it's impressive that this application can do that because it's almost kind of the default video editor. If you just kind of
how I get so frustrated with keyframing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
This was like so seamlessly. Like when we were watching the video, I was like, "What? No, this is fake." It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, when Premiere's not offering that kind of stuff and they're just dumping it for free to
I know
to Windows creators.
I know
That's pretty impressive.
Adobe needs to get its crap together. No,
yeah, just like yeah, but like Adobe's like a big deal with like all sorts of like software. Like for example, Premiere. That's what we use the most, and for something like Movie Maker to have that Premiere doesn't. I mean, Adobe kind of, like you said, also need to get its act together. Just like I wonder where they've been.
I mean, you can certainly do the same thing. It's just process.
Yeah, but not as easy.
Yeah.
And it's not free. It's not free built into your computer.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty cool. I guess, let's see. Okay, the rest on day 2, they announced VR headsets and motion controllers. Okay, this is since we're already here, we'll talk about it. This is pretty incredible. When they're talking about VR headsets, they're mostly talking about. Sorry, let me make sure I say this correctly. Yeah, they're talking about the Windows holographic headsets that they're talking about, and. Now, we don't have a lot of information on these yet. It's rumored that they can do VR. They look like a VR headset, but not everybody's sure that they can do VR in a traditional manner that you would expect. It's mostly rumored that they're going to do this heads-up display mixed reality where it scans in your room with the cameras on the front of it, and then it displays displays your surroundings in a VR type experience. But I think a lot of people are going to be expecting like full on VR, like being able to play Job Simulator or these apps, and they haven't released that yet if you're going to be able to do that. So but it looks like a headset, so I think that's why people are getting confused, wouldn't you think, Alex?
Yeah, yeah. One theory that I have is that it won't do VR that it won't do VR at all, mostly because it's so cheap. For like 400, $300, whereas like the HTC Vive is almost $1,000, and that's only VR. So where there's like a $700 gap, $600 gap between these new MR devices and the Vive. Like I'm not sure we're going to see very much VR with these new devices, but that's my theory.
Yeah, and it's we all know it'll do like VR it'll do VR because that's how it works. As 1440p resolutions, as you turn your head, it's going to move with your surroundings. In that sense, it does VR. But we're saying the traditional VR experience that you're expecting, I don't think it'll compare to that. Even though if it does, that would be freaking incredible if they could have a $300 device that's Oculus or Vive-ish level, But the biggest announcement they did with those is their, at least to me, the biggest is their new controllers. What do you guys think about that?
They seem pretty impressive. I mean, they're a lot similar to, like I said, the Vive and other VR technology. And I remember watching a demo where you saw like the character and like the movements and how they're able to move around, and it's basically kind of the same thing. You just kind of shoot this little beacon that transports you to where the beacon lands. And I was kind of hoping for something a little bit different, like with a joystick, like your character can move or walk around. So I'm a teensy bit disappointed in that aspect, that much hasn't changed.
Yes, so it's like if you think of the controllers, they look like Vive-esque or Oculus, the Daydream controllers for the Oculus, or wait, that's for Google. Never mind. Or the Samsung VR controllers. They look like a traditional VR controller, but they work a little bit different. Instead of being connected to separate towers, they're actually do tracking themselves, which is really cool and has a lot of applications outside of just this MR realm. But I don't know, we've talked about controllers a lot, and I honestly didn't think this was a move they were going to make with mixed reality. Because they're supposedly, they're not out yet. They're rumored to come out later Christmas time. They're rumored to work with the HoloLens. I mean that's the idea, that you're going to be able to like hold holograms and run them around and move stuff easily and draw like a pencil or whatever the application is. It's supposed to be work with the HoloLens, but I didn't expect this route, honestly. I expected more like a glove or just better motion controls or better voice controls. I didn't expect them to bring a whole new device into this mixed reality sphere. Do you guys see yourselves using these often?
Well, if it makes the experience easier, like more precision, like I know we've used apps in the past where we measure distances, and to be more precise with these controllers, possibly that would be a benefit of them.
Yeah, that would be, and then they have those like little plates out that you can buy now that you can like jam in the corner and it'll like lock right on. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
that is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I personally would use them. I mean, I did just talk a lot of smack about them. But thinking about actually the video we just released a matter of minutes ago shows what you can do with an Xbox One controller. And that was a blast. Like I spent an hour or two just flying this little helicopter around in the office with this Xbox One controller. So with this other devices, with these MR controllers for the HoloLens, I mean, I feel like that'd be such an immersive experience and just kind of open up even more opportunities with the HoloLens.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me though is like I feel at least my take on the HoloLens is to be a completely untethered device. You just have the HoloLens and it does everything you need to do. You don't need any external computer. You don't need external processing power, battery power. You don't need anything. And for them to come in at a controller, they're wireless and they have their own battery and stuff like that. But I don't know if it's true to the MR experience that I thought they were going for. I mean, it's obviously that's what their decision
Well,
was. So
aren't these gonna be like cross compatible? Isn't this gonna go with Scorpio? Like,
yeah, I bet it'll
I
definitely.
hope so.
This will probably be. This is their just answer to, because Windows hasn't done like their VR answer or their answer to Vive or anything like this. So I think this is kind of them just like giving a little bit of a pushback. I don't see the need for it, but I mean, it'll be cool to try. We've already seen people crack up their own little controllers. Like last week, I think we talked about, or a couple weeks ago, there's a fella that took a Vive controller, did the same thing where he could attach a hologram to the Vive controller and wave it around, and the hologram would stay with the controller right inside of the space, which is really cool. So the fact that people are hacking it up at home means that there's definitely been developers and industries that have been trying to hit on that niche. I don't know. I want to see more because at the release it was kind of weird. We didn't see any. We didn't see the devices. I think there was a display with them, but you couldn't touch them. Nobody used them for any set, and I think they didn't even show a video of people using them really. So it'll be interesting to see what comes around from that. All right, moving on. Later that day, they released iTunes in the Windows Store. What do you guys think about that?
it's awesome. So I haven't really researched it much. Like, what does it include? Is it just iTunes Store?
Let's say it says Apple is releasing a version of iTunes in Microsoft's digital store by the end of 2017, so it might not be there in time for next month's launch of the Surface Laptop. Remember, Microsoft's new Windows 10 S operating system can only run apps available in the store. Doesn't say
really?
much.
So this was probably designed. So it's designed for the Surface, right? That only can run apps.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it would be an essential to have an iTunes app if you used iTunes as your music player.
It's a weird announcement to make, though. I don't know. I know iTunes is a
Yeah.
pretty big platform, but I know iTunes has lost a lot of ground lately with Spotify and Windows Music or Groove or whatever their platform is that they're calling it, or Google Play. There's so many different options. iTunes used to be like the end-all be-all, but I don't know. It's interesting that it's such a big announcement for their competitors.
Yeah, I kind of agree, but I also feel like they're late to the game because it's like Spotify has gotten pretty dang big, and like Pandora is still going strong. And I remember with the Apple Music, like obviously enough people have stopped downloading music, just like individual songs or albums, for Apple to make them want to shift to a Spotify-esque application.
Yeah.
And because just like I know a lot of people, like I have some friends who are like the diehard Apple fans, who they've like stopped downloading just like individual songs and albums and have gone the route of Apple Music. And me personally, just like I've gone over to Spotify, and just like I pay the fee, the $5 for students a month, and I don't think I'll ever go back.
Yeah, it's a hard sell because I mean we've totally transitioned to this. There's a word for it, but this subscription-based model is basically what it is, where
Yeah.
you pay and then you get unlimited access to it, and it's kind of shifted the whole music scene. But I don't know. It's just interesting to see that that's one of their big hitters for the Microsoft build. I mean, obviously they're gonna have a iTunes app. iTunes isn't gonna miss out on that, and Microsoft's not gonna miss out on those markets. So it's just an interesting announcement. So another thing they announced was Project Emma. So this is a watch that helps people with Parkinson's that sends vibrations to their body to help with the side effects or the symptoms of Parkinson's. So that seems pretty interesting. We've seen a lot of that with the HoloLens, a lot of those kind of medical apps, right? What's some of the ones we've seen that you can think of the top of your head? I know there's a cool app that we want to try. The
cystic fibrosis, like brain scanner, right? Is that the one?
Oh no, talk about that one though. You could talk about that one.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know too much about it. I've seen it in the Holland store, and also I've seen like a minute and a half demo of this app, and basically the HoloLens user is looking at this patient down on a gurney, and he places the hologram over their head and is able to scan their brain. I'm not 100% sure how it works. I'm not a brain surgeon, and like I said, all I got was this minute and a half demo I saw on YouTube. Like I stumbled upon it, but I'd be super interested to see. Maybe like we'll download the app and have Austin lay on the couch and we'll scan his brain for a video.
Oh boy.
We'll go get his cat scanned. I wish I could actually scan his brain. How cool would that be? We'll just have to
That'd be incredible.
We'll find a random scan off of like a person that smokes brain versus a person that doesn't smoke. You know how they always do those to scare kids.
Don't do drugs, kids.
One of the coolest app ideas I've seen, though, that we haven't got a chance to try yet, that we really want to, is it's for blind people. They can put the HoloLens on, and it uses spatial mapping to map the area around them. And as you get closer to walls or objects, it'll uses the 3D sound to let you know that there's objects around you. So if I get closer to the wall, maybe the hum gets bigger. We haven't even tried it, so I don't know how it works, but this is just the idea behind it. And an application like that has, so many possibilities. That would be so powerful as a blind person to get this 3D surrounding of yourself just using sound. Wouldn't you guys think that would be incredible?
Oh yeah, that would.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it. Like this was a couple of years ago. There's like a kind of a news special on this gentleman. He was like 16 or 17 years old, who was blind, but by clicking with his mouth or wearing like tap shoes, he could it's almost like an echolocation almost. Just like he was able to walk down and based off of the clicks, he could see his surroundings, and it shows him rollerblading down the road, just because of this skill that he had developed. So I feel like with the HoloLens, more and more people could be able to do that, and it'd just be right off the bat, be able to almost see again, but at the very least interact with their surroundings in a safer way.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Are we live?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, everybody hold on. Sorry, I accidentally logged out of our account and logged into the wrong one. Alright, hold on, let me get all this stuff back up. Oh wow, there's so many comments. I haven't seen all this stuff. Oh wow, sorry guys, I was totally delayed. Okay, well, we'll talk about some comments for just a moment. Joe showed up. What's up, Joe? Austin already replied to that. Ethan, who's that? Ethan Reed? Who's Ethan Reed?
That'd be my little brother. Shout out to him.
And looks like we got Alex and Joe, and there we go. Okay, so sweet. So we have some viewers. Oh, we have 8 people watching, and our video output is low. Interesting. Look at all these analytics I was totally missing out on because I didn't refresh my freaking screen.
I know. What the heck, Eric?
Come on, man.
Sorry, guys. Well, welcome to the stream. And yeah. Anyways, let's continue on. We're talking about MR. My blind's fully blown. Microsoft Build 2017. So, what do you guys think this signals? They hit MR really hard, right? They hit it like none other. Microsoft stuff and Windows holographic stuff and HoloLens stuff. What do you think this signals for the future of Microsoft and their holographic market or their push?
I know there's lots of hate on the MR community. Just oh, it will die eventually, but the way Microsoft's taking it sure doesn't look like it's gonna die. It looks like future is gonna be completely and wholly based around mixed reality and what it has to offer, and with cloud computing and all this integration and virtual assistants, it's just gonna make the sharing of ideas so much easier. Creativity is gonna just flow, and yeah, it's gonna be great.
No, you're exactly right. And I think this was kind of like them pushing AR into a whole bunch of different realms. Instead of just having your HoloLens AR, MR experience, you have it now on your PC. You now have it on your phones and all this cross-platform optimization. It shows that they're just they're really trying to get people accustomed to this AR, MR experience. What do you think? What do you think it signals for the future, Alex?
I just feel like one thing that I'm super impressed about is we've seen a lot with the HoloLens, lately. But now, like with this, like bringing in of the MR, said it is. I feel like they're gonna try to bring gaming into the mixed reality a little bit more, but I'm not too sure. Like that's kind of how I feel. But I found an article today that kind of talks about like MR and AR, because it kind of pointed out that HoloLens wasn't really represented in the Microsoft build. I remember I was earlier today, I was looking through the various videos and all the demonstrations done, and out of like 437 demonstrations in total, there were only like 6 for the HoloLens. And this article kind of points that out. It talks about how like last year there's a bunch of demos with like Minecraft and like all sorts of different like research fields where the HoloLens could be used. But in this one, they just kind of backed off. And the article the author of this article kind of pokes at it, just like, well, why didn't they do that? Are they lying to us? Is the HoloLens going to come and go? Well, then towards the end, it cites a couple of interviews and a couple of people that they talked to. For example, Michael Reed of Practical AR talks about just like economics are pretty brutal, and the fact that the HoloLens is $3,000, it's making it very difficult for people to want to buy it. Basically a select amount of developers who have the money are going to want to do it, and the rest are businesses. And so what Microsoft has done is they kind of targeted corporations and big business, basically. However, they do talk about how this year alone, with more than 200 apps on the HoloLens store, it's more than doubled this year alone. And we're not even we're barely halfway through.
No, yeah,
So I
we've seen
feel
a
like-
huge jump. Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna jump in there. Yeah, we've seen a huge jump in just like the past couple weeks in how many apps. I mean, we weren't struggling to do app previews or anything like that, but the app quality was not quite to the level that we wanted to display on our channel and for the HoloLens, because we're kind of representing the MR community. We didn't want to show some of these crappier apps, but I mean, now we're finding it hard to keep up with how many apps there are. I mean, there's like 10 being released a week, and for them to say that it's solely corporations buying into this, there's only very few big software dev houses that have been releasing apps. Most of it is like people like Mr. Risotto and Spinteractive is a dev house, but they're a little bit of a smaller dev house.
Tactile's a pretty big one.
Yeah, Tactile. So we're seeing these smaller dev houses or single developers releasing these really incredible apps, and it's in my opinion, at least, you guys can tell me if you guys agree with this or not, in just the past like 2 months or a month, I've seen an extreme amount of quality go up in the app level, and the quality of the apps are just far surpassed anything we've seen before. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
I agree 100%, Eric. Sorry, I just kind of want to interrupt real fast.
Go ahead.
Just like a lot of people, like you said, like with this big surge of apps, some of the people, like some of the developers from Tactile that this article cites are calling it the calm before the storm. So I feel like with this release of cheaper, and not in like a bad sense, but just like more accessible MR devices, Microsoft is preparing itself for this storm, so to speak.
Yes, you're exactly right. We've kind of even said that. If you go back to our old podcast, we even said it's like things are really calm right now. Things are Microsoft is kind of holding back a little bit. They're not releasing all their secrets. They're not doing everything that they do. They're not pushing MR super hard because they're letting VR, they're letting everybody else have their limelight, and then they're just going to come in left side and just cram people. Not necessarily Microsoft in general, but the MR/AR community. And I think all the companies that have started adopting AR/MR technology and this build just kind of proves the fact that it's slowly creeping into your everyday life without you even knowing it. And I think that's a really smart approach, wouldn't you guys say?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to get my ad blocker. They don't like me using ad blocker on this site. So I guess there's a bunch of Magic Leap drama. Have you guys seen any of this? Were you guys aware of any of this last week?
Yeah,
So,
seen a little bit.
so Magic Leap just had some of its secrets spilled, actually, by Andre Iguodala. So we have to every week we have to have our Magic Leap drama section, or what's happening with Magic Leap or all that stuff, just because we're obsessed with following them and seeing what's up. And this week we actually got a little bit of a taste. So a couple weeks ago we talked about how Magic Leap has been sending all of its devices to and demoing all their devices to like celebrities and to really famous people rather than like tech giants and stuff like that. They're just showing them to random who knows what, you know what I mean? So this guy, Mr. Andre Iguodala, I don't follow NBA, but he's a big basketball player from what I understand, and he got to try it. And let me see if I can find this real quick. So I don't misquote him. Let me see if I can find it. I love this dead air. This is great, guys. This is high quality content material.
Eric, are you talking about like the interview where he flat out says like, I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this?
Yes, I'm talking about that one exactly. Yeah, it says, quote, "I don't know if I'm allowed to say ... and he signed a big NDA. I'm just trying to find his exact quote because I don't want to misquote him.
I don't know where the quote is, but he does talk about how a lot of his demos were controlled by eye movements.
Oh yeah, okay, right, yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah. Thank you for helping me. Assertions that many things in this demo were controlled by eye movements, saying that you could use your gaze to control items in your environment, such as turning off lights by looking at them, or adjusting the temperature in your home by using only eye controls. Ooh, what do you guys think about that?
I like it. That's one of the first good things I've heard about Magic Leap.
Do you think he's
Yeah,
confused? The ability to track your eyes and use it to control apps, I don't know about that. I don't know. That's incredible technology. What do you think, Alex? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. I'm just kind of excited to see that Magic Leap is actually bringing something different to the table. Because I mean, obviously there's a lot of hype and they're super secret. It's a lot of cloak and dagger, but like with eye movements, like this technology, like that's kind of insane. Like not even like literally hands free and being able to manipulate your holograms with simply your eyes. Like that's huge.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, though, how are they going to keep the cost down if they're going to have two separate eye trackers, or maybe it's one? I don't know how it would work. Eye trackers plus their new light field sensor, plus sensors to see your area, plus hopefully it's not a tethered device. I mean, we're looking at like a $5,000+ device right here. Would you guys say that's a fair estimate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and actually, Eric, when you mentioned like it being tethered, further down in the article is another quote by him saying,
Yeah.
"The actual device is so small, the one that's going to come to market, it's almost like you have a pair of sunglasses on."
Whoa. So we're talking a pair of sunglasses that has eye tracking, that watches where you're looking in the room, that uses the new light field sensor, that could do like depth of field with holograms, and you can get insanely close to holograms, plus sensors to see your area, plus battery life, plus processing power, all on a pair of sunglasses. Is it just me, or does that sound a little too good to be true?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
The plot thickens.
just looking, I mean, they've been hiding stuff for years, so maybe that's what it is. Go ahead.
Maybe they paid this guy. Say this.
Wouldn't be surprised, actually. But he says he wasn't supposed to leak this, so I wonder if they're going to be mad at him, because those are some pretty bold claims, and this wasn't a super popular article. Like, if you looked around, it was kind of hard to find what he was saying about it, so I feel like someone was trying to maybe keep it under wraps a little bit. That's insane. Like, I don't know. I've kind of learned if things sound too good to be true, they generally are. But that sounds
I
incredible.
mean, it is a leak.
the Magic Leap. Yeah, I guess it's Leap. But just looking at all the other technology, so we have Microsoft, one of the biggest companies in the world. This is their device that they've put out, and we have Meta too, which has been in the game for quite a while. That's their device they got out, and Avagon. It's a pretty decent looking device, but I mean, still, none of them are on that level, you know. So, what are you guys expecting?
None of them are anywhere near as small as glasses.
Nowhere
so
near.
it really makes you think.
I don't think it's true.
You think he's just confused?
You're calling Andre Godola a liar?
I'm not. I don't know. It's a leak. You can't trust leaks.
One thing it does say is the one that's going to come to market. So maybe the one that he used is huge, but they showed him like this picture, like this 3D rendering of this is what it's going to be. And then in 5 years we'll see it.
Right.
That's a good point, actually. It's like what I'm saying. I'm not gonna blame him. I'm not gonna blame Magic Leap. This is what happens when you give insane advanced technology to people that don't really understand dev process, that don't understand R&D, that don't understand the life cycle of a product, that don't understand technology in general. You know, this is what happens. You give them something and they don't understand it, so they're going to misinform people or say things wrong. I don't know if this is misinformed. Maybe he's 100% right. Maybe he's a huge tech guy. I have no idea. But just those are some very bold leak claims that he made, you know? And I see why they have people sign NDAs for that exact premise. Because you're exactly right, Alex. It could totally be where they showed him a product that's going to be released in 5 years. Like, hey, this is what we want it to be, you know? Or maybe he just looked through it. You know, maybe it's like the leaked pictures we saw forever ago where it's this huge optical device where it's stationary and you look through it like that, you know? And then they showed him what it's going to be like. Go ahead.
Maybe they just put like glasses on him that played videos through the lenses of what it could be.
They just like open up a YouTube video. They're like, here's our demo pictures. I mean, I don't know. Magically, I just want to see a product or something. Not rumors from NBA players. I don't want to hear what's Ricky Gervais say it's going to change the world. I don't want to hear Lady Gaga, whoever it was, say.
You don't want to hear Beyonce complain of how it's not cool?
Beyonce, Rihanna, whoever it was, how it was boring.
That's one thing that surprises me, though, is like with technology where holograms can read, like, are controlled by our eyes, and Beyonce's not impressed by that?
I know.
Maybe it's all maybe it just doesn't exist.
Well, you got to think from Beyonce or Rihanna. Was it Beyonce?
Yeah.
So we're not.
Yeah, it was Beyonce.
Okay, perfect. I got to think from Beyonce's level. I mean, she's on such a different. I mean, she's one of the richest people in the world. She's one of the most famous people in the world. So something like this is like nothing to her. The bigger fish she's got to fry. You know, I could even see why she would say it was boring. And that's the risk you run. You know, or you risk an NBA player that doesn't understand what he's talking about, leaking information that could, like, if this got out and this was big, and this is what people were saying, like, if this leak was, like, people thought it was genuine, and this is what got traction in the media. I mean, you could see how this could catch on like wildfire, and this could be really detrimental to Magic Leap, you know, where people are expecting this huge device, and then they're like, oh, crap, we cannot deliver this device. What do you guys think?
The proof is going to be in the pudding. Like, I have to see something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. We've got too much mixed reviews and
Yeah.
too much just like having it get played up by supporters in the company itself that I'm just not, you know, I'm just gonna wait patiently until something comes out.
Exactly.
I'm gonna do what Joe said to do.
What did Joe say to do?
He
I'm not
said-
checking the comments.
Until I see one that's legitimate, I'll reserve judgment.
Exactly right. Okay, let's see. I'm way behind comments. I think Joe says, I think Microsoft wanted to get their apps in place before they put emphasis on public consumption. I think that's totally right. So Joe's talking about what we were talking about, why they're playing the waiting game, and I think he's totally right that they want to kind of get their eggs all in the nest and then be ready to release their stuff. Arcade Animal showed up. Welcome to the stream. What do you guys think of Magic Leap? Oh, well, that's a coincidence that we started talking about Magic Leap right there. It's a game changer. meh. It looks like we have some little bit of debate in the comics, just exactly like that. This is a perfect example. Two people that are in the mixed reality community having different opinions because, exactly like you said, there's so many mixed opinions, Alex. You know, from what I mean, have we seen anything like extremely positive about it besides Ricky Gervais saying it's the future?
Other than this leak,
I mean, Andre said it was pretty cool right after he leaked it.
I guess that's a good point. Yeah, he did say it's pretty cool. So continuing on with Magic Leap drama, just because we love it, Magic Leap just settled a sex discrimination lawsuit for an undisclosed amount. So apparently they had a female worker there. I'm gonna post both these articles in the chat so that people can see them. Sorry about that. We don't have someone moderating the chat today, so we're a little bit slow to the get-go. Here we go. I'll grab this, drop this in the chat. All these links will be in the link dump below, or they will, and all of our conversations will be timestamped below. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. Okay, we'll have to add that in. Sorry. Back to the topic at hand. Magic Leap just settled a sex discrimination lawsuit. They had a former female employee that says she was harassed and that there's a macho mentality at the office, and that none of the developers and none of the higher-ups would take women seriously at the company. What do you guys think about that?
well, isn't that a common issue everywhere?
I mean, not necessarily. Unless it is where you work.
We won't talk about that. What do I think about this? Poor move on Magic Leap's part.
Poor move on Magic Leap's part. I think what
Yeah,
this
but-
go ahead.
Like Austin, like Magic Leap didn't sexually assault this woman like one of their employees did, you know. And I'm not by any means trying to downplay the like the crime, you know, what went down.
Yeah. Which we don't
It
know what
obviously-
went down necessarily.
Yeah.
Like it obviously does look bad for Magic Leap, but like people need to realize like it wasn't Magic Leap, and they obviously they handled it pretty well considering there was a settlement. And,
Right.
You know, settlements usually mean, you know, have been close, but like I said,
Or you want to
this is
hush-hush,
kind
you
of
want to put a hush-hush on that, is what it says.
yeah, shut somebody up.
Well, let's just say, here we go, I'm going to read it right from the article. Campbell's lawsuit, filed in February, alleged that Magic Leap's executives turned a blind eye towards sexism at the company. Among other things, it claimed that Magic Leap's employees made comments about women being bad with computers, dismissed female team members' input, and created a macho bullying culture at the office. Campbell also alleged that she was fired for pointing out problems with the company's treatment of women, my bad. I mean, those are some pretty bold statements against a unicorn company worth billions of dollars. You know what I mean? To
Right.
say that, especially a startup in San Francisco now that's supposed to be extremely, politically correct and extremely welcoming to all people, you know? I don't know, it's just interesting. I mean, there's these little leaks here and there that are, showing it, like poor Ronnie, you know, a lot of people pick on him, so we won't. But, and the other article I can't look at that I was going to talk about because I have ad blocker enabled and I'm too lazy to unlock it. Anyways, what the article says is, after all of this talk about Magic Leap and everything, it's actually, they just allowed developers to sign up to possibly get a device. You can go ahead and go to their website and sign up as a developer and try to get a device. We've all signed up, and I signed up a long time ago, and I still haven't heard anything. But, you know, this is kind of them signaling, hey, we're getting ready to geared up to see these devices. When do you think we'll see one?
I'm not sure. Like, there's a lot of speculation, so I don't think I could make a guess.
It seems like we've seen a lot more publicity with the Magic Leap in the recent months, though, so they must be getting closer to their release date of something, hopefully.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's been little tidbits here and there that they've been dropping for it that's just kind of led
But
up
it's nothing
to...
official from them, so
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty exciting, though. I mean, it's an exciting time, especially with Avogant coming out with all their stuff
Right.
and everything. It's
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible. So, what's some of the other app previews we filmed that we're planning on releasing?
There's one that actually just came out a little less than a week ago called Nexus Defense, and I actually had a really fun time playing that game. A lot of people talk about how gaming for the HoloLens just isn't going to happen, and a lot of people, like I've noticed on YouTube, get super passionate about it and get, like, almost angry that somebody would even dare try to push gaming for the HoloLens. But with this, I'm going to explain it for a little bit. I'd like to kind of compare it to tower defense, say. You've got like a point A and point B where, enemies have to get to point B to attack your base, let's say, and it loses health. So you place like obstacles or turrets off to the side to try to keep them from getting to point B. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that totally does. And we've seen a lot of... Our stream keeps cutting out. Sorry for the stream quality for everybody out there if you guys are getting this. Our internet's doing really wacky things. There's a storm outside, so that might be playing on part of it. Yeah, no, I remember that was like one of the first apps I ever saw was kind of like this little globe that you would rotate, and it was a tower defense, kind of like balloon defense and stuff like that. But now it never really worked. But now this is an actual app. I didn't get to try it. Was it fun?
Yeah, it was a blast, dude. It's like Nexus Defense. It's not just like a point A to point B. It sticks your base in the middle of the room, and then aliens come at it from all sides. There's not just a pathway, like in like balloon defense, like you just said, Eric. It's like all over the room, like various points in like a circle. They just kind of come at you, which is kind of a unique little twist in that game, and it's just fun just to be able to kind of sit there. Like you can, I sat for most of it. Then the later on I got, the harder it got, and I couldn't just sit there. I had to stand up, and I was running around in circles, placing turrets and repairing them, and trying to like buy airstrikes and stuff. And I had a lot of fun.
That sounds
That
awesome.
was just normal.
That sounds amazing.
That was just the normal difficulty too. I tried to play hard, and like I didn't even make it past the third wave.
I remember that we were filming it, and you're just like, we gotta redo this.
Yeah. So for the video, because like I tested it on normal mode, but for the video, I'm like, oh no, we want more fast paced. So I was recording me getting my butt kicked by MR aliens, and I'm like, okay, we can't have this in the video. So I had to go back down to normal for the.
Alex, I think we should though.
We'll do a special where watch Alex get his butt kicked in Nexus Defense.
Yeah.
That'll be a video we'll release.
What the was this an app made by a single developer, or was this a group, a company?
I didn't notice. I think it was a single developer because it's actually the beta. The beta was released, so there's still a couple of things. For example, the normal only goes to 20 waves. And after that, like, no more aliens keep coming, but the music keeps playing, and you can still look at your base and place things. Like, the game doesn't end. And I'm just like, well, what the heck's going on? But I noticed above the title it says Nexus Defense Beta. So I'm pretty sure it's, I could be wrong. We could definitely look into that, but it's, even in the beta testing, so to speak, it was still pretty dang awesome. Yeah, very polished, very well done. I was impressed.
That's awesome, and I think it's cool to see these kind of more like fun little games, because as like someone that demos the HoloLens, that's kind of stuff that gets people going like right then. Is the games that can get them right into it. When you show them like a Galaxy, they're like, wow, this is so cool. But when you get them in a game like running around having fun, that's what like really gets people into it. And as far as people that say gaming isn't the best thing for the HoloLens, there will not be gaming on the HoloLens. It sure may not be the future of it, but it's a sure good way to show people and get people into the MR and stuff. Like, we showed someone, what's the Robo-Raid, and what was he doing? He got really into it, running around, rolling around, dodging stuff.
It was like crazy.
Yeah, it's just a complete experience, and that's something he's never gonna forget, like trying to dodge robots and stuff. But if I, just showed him the holograms, the basic holograms app, he wouldn't have had as a good time. So it's cool that we're seeing apps that can finally like cater to every different person. Because my grandma's gonna want to see Italy and Holo Tour, and my mom may want to try Galaxy Explorer or something like that, or my dad may want to try Fragments, or someone that loves Holo Defense stuff. They should, if that's someone that they like, the HoloLens now has it. It's cool to see all these different apps being explored on HoloLens. Anything the HoloLens is like lacking in apps? Any like gaming, or what do you guys see like as the future a little bit, where devs are going to start taking it?
I think, well, what I noticed MS Build, like they were focusing on it being your personal assistant. Like you'll have the HoloLens with mixed reality that assist you with it in your daily life. That's where I see it going.
So more like everyday use, items and stuff like that. Okay, that's definitely true. What do you think, Alex?
I feel like personally that at least right now in the near future they're going to push towards bigger companies, and just because, for example, I saw this really cool application where this company, that it's their job to inspect boilers in big businesses. Like they have like their agent go in and just like with his little checklist kind of go through and check each boiler in the building. And the example they used in the building they were demoing in, there were 54 boilers alone in just that building. And like in a big city with bigger skyscrapers, for example, like Seattle, that is a lot of buildings, a lot of boilers, and that could be tedious, So with this, they didn't. I was super disappointed because they didn't show they didn't show like a demonstration of the app. They just kind of talked about it. But basically, what it allows is for the person to just wear a HoloLens and do his little virtual checkoff, and have the application show them how the boiler should look, and like to know if the setup is correct, which would save time and money and ultimately be more accurate.
And can you see like how fast the system might be updated? Like he goes and does these inspections, and then that data is uploaded to whoever needs to see that it's been done, and then it's just like a seamless flow of data and technology. And there's a huge application out there for that. I really enjoyed watching that video as well.
No, those applications that take your data and just add it around you into your real world, that is a big market for so many different departments, from boilers to telecommunication. You know what I mean? Instead of getting with someone on Skype, drop them. I mean, Skype is data being sent to you. Instead of taking that data, drop a 3D person right in your space with you. Or, I mean, there's so many applications. I mean, just in your guys' everyday job, you guys could probably find applications for the HoloLens, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, just like with different apps like the Holo Automotive. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. I think we talked about it a while ago. Just where it can show different parts of a vehicle that you're working on, and like what torque some bolts need to be at. Like it's like the owner's manual written all over your car. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is kind of a big deal. One app that that I thought was kind of interesting, that it's super old, is like all sorts of like robots. Eric, do you remember this one?
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
yeah,
like
yeah.
select a robot and it gives like a 3D look at it.
There's like hundreds.
Yeah, there are hundreds, and I spent a little bit, about 20 minutes, looking at about, I think, 30 or 40 of them, and it was really cool just to be able to walk around them. And there isn't much else you can do, but I mean that was one of the first apps to even hit the HoloLens. So imagine now that the industry's a little bit more matured and more developed. Imagine something like that for like demonstrations and stuff once again. But just like, it was insane just how young the HoloLens was, but how many demos of robots that they had in this app.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the growth is insane. So I mean, it's been about I guess it's been a year since last Microsoft build, and the HoloLens is just over a year old, and we're about to hit our year anniversary. So I mean, I'm excited for the things to come this next year. I expect like insane growth for the MR and AR, not just community, but technologies in general. Once you guys say for the next year, it's gonna be just insane.
Oh yeah, I'm way excited too.
Yeah, because last year was kind of slow. Kind of everything. It was kind of an ebb and a flow. You know, something would come out and nothing would really happen from it. Like Apple or Snapchat would release, announce that they're going to do AR stuff, but we wouldn't see any AR stuff. I think this year's when we're going to allow to see a lot of that materialize, and a lot of it be released and actually get tangible material. So I think it's a really exciting time. And so, I just talk about it because we're coming up on our year anniversary, and I'm pumped to see the app previews or new technologies or new devices we're going to have to pick up to just keep up with people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's going to be awesome.
Well, on that note, I think we've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes. So I will go ahead and any closing words, boys?
No. Keep on keeping on.
You know, yeah, I don't have much else to say either. This was just, a lot of fun to talk about all the different stuff that went down at MS Build. Just like we just talked about. I'm just super pumped to see what this next year has to bring.
Yeah, for reals. With all those announcements and everything, it just shows how bright the future is. Well, I think that's about wraps it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll our outro song. And thank you. This has been the Hollow Herald podcast, episode number 12. And thank you to Alex and Austin for joining us on this one. And thank you for everybody on the stream that was here to join us. It's been a real good time. If you're listening to the pre-recorded version, all the links, everything we said, and all the time. Well, I guess if you've made it this far, you've already watched the whole thing, so it doesn't really matter. Thank you for joining us for this far. Expect more content to come, and tons of new ideas and tons of new fun stuff. So, yeah, thank you so much. If you have any questions or comments, you can hit us up on Twitter. You can leave it in the comments below, and it's been a good time. This has been the Hollow Herald podcast.
Thanks, guys.